Hi y'all, this is Regina. Welcome back to Regina's Crafting and More. I'm going to do a kind of a quick video on these vintage frames that I've uploaded to the group, and they will shortly be in my Etsy shop. Let me get over here. So these are the frames you're going to be getting. All the ones that have this stitch in it, okay? This is what this frame would look like without the candle wicking. There will not be a file without the candle wicking, because all you have to do is skip that step if you don't want it. I just wanted this to be on here so you could see what it looked like in the event it didn't have a candle wicking in it. So there's 10 frames. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And once again, this is what it looks like without the candle wicking in it. Now, these 4 frames that I'm showing you right here is what was uploaded to the group as a freebie. And they will also be included in the files that are on Etsy. Or Etsy, however everybody pronounces it. So these are the 4x4. Let me go, and they'll be the same ones that are available in the 5x7. Okay. So let me show you how these stitch out. First of all, let me go over here back to Facebook. So these are samples that this one is one Crystal stitched for me today, I'm not sure, and she used variegated thread in it. Very pretty. I love that variegated thread that comes through. Thank you, Crystal. I appreciate your help on test stitching. And the first one that I sent Crystal, I had the satin stitching not as large and not as dense, so I had to increase the size and the density on the satin stitching, because I've created these specifically for items that would have a nap that would poke through any of the stitching on this, and that way these knockdown stitches, which is here in the center, okay, help hold that nap down. So let me get over here, let me go back. So this one is one that Janie stitched for me yesterday. This is one of the frames, and you can see the knockdown stitches on that. She used a towel, put this on a towel. Thank you, Janie, I appreciate your help. And then this one is the very first one that Crystal stitched. Now, this one, when I looked at that, I realized that the density on the satin stitching wasn't enough, because it did not keep the little pokies on the towel from showing through. So I changed the density and the size of the satin stitching, and as you can tell by this one and on Janie's, that now the satin stitching is wider and a little heavier, so you don't have those pokies. So this was the first one, okay, and that all this is a little denser now to prevent those pokies. You can always use some washable topper on it, you know, that plastic topper that you can get to keep any of that from happening if you're just not sure, okay, if you just want to be positive that nothing's going to poke up through. So let me show you the steps. Okay, step number 1 is your placement stitch. In the event you want to use fabric underneath this frame. Okay, step number 2, once you stitch step number 1, you're going to lay your fabric down. Step number 2 will tack it down. Step number 3, you can stitch that if you like on your fabric. It will stitch the knockdown stitches, and you can use a variegated thread in it to get all kinds of different looks on it. Step number 4 is your satin stitching around the edges here. Step number 5 is your candle wicking. Okay, so if I change this to purple. We'll make it kind of a fall, a Halloween colors here. Let me change that real quick. All right, so that's kind of a Halloween colors, I guess. I'm going to change this back to brown. Okay, and I'm going to change this back to rust. Whoops, wrong rust. I'll just leave it. Okay, so let me show you how this stitches. So, whoops, that's the candle wicking. All right, so you can see how that, now, like I said, you can eliminate that. You don't have to stitch it. You can just bypass it, and when you do, it's going to look like this. Okay, let's see this one. Yeah, it'll look like this without the satin, without the candle wicking in it. All right, so let me click off that, and we'll do a slow redraw on it. So this is your placement stitch, and you can just stitch this even if you aren't using fabric. That's your tack down stitch for your fabric. You trim. Now it's going to do all the knockdown stitches, and this should knock down any puffy fiber nap stuff, you know, that might poke through if you're doing it on towels or blankets or whatever. All right, so you can see that how it's going to stitch. We're just going to let this go through so you can see. And I'm going to pause it just a second. So I'm going to go back over here. So remember, if you use, if you use variegated thread, you could get some really interesting looks on it. All right, so let me let this go through so you can see how it's going to stitch. All right, now it's going to go this way, and then it'll come back and go this way, I believe. The other way diagonally. Whoop, no, that's it. Okay, now it's going to do the satin stitching around the edges, and then it's going to come back and do the candle wicking. Okay, and you can elect not to stitch this, remember, and then it's going to do the text. Now, the files that I uploaded to the group all have text in them. You can choose not to stitch them if you want, and that would give you 4 of the frames. There are 10 frames total in the files that are on the that were uploaded to my Etsy shop. 10 frames. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And those are available once again in 5x7 and the 4x4. Okay. So that is pretty much it for the frames. I've given you some pictures to look at. All these pictures will be included in showing you all the frames that were and what it looks like without the candle wicking stitch. All right. So I hope you enjoy these frames, and post in the group when you use these on something. Let's see, share with the group so we can see what you're doing and inspire others to use these frames also. I appreciate you, and I hope you enjoy these files. Thanks so much for watching.